Hi everyone, welcome to BurgBoys. I'm Max,
I'm Terence.
and this is your weekly dive into the most interesting news with our reaction and take on what's happening.
Okay, so Max, I've got an interesting article.
Okay.
And I think it's catching fire on LinkedIn.
Okay, what is it about?
So basically, this recruiter went on a CNA talk show and said that companies are letting go of Singaporeans in favor of hiring workers overseas. And she used the word hungrier.
Okay.
So, I mean, that draws a lot of responses from both sides. Like some agreed with her and said that we are starting to lose our edge. Others say that there's some constraints on reality.
Okay.
What it means by hungry. Hungrier means we accept lower pay, worse hours, right? If that's the case, right? Is that what we really want? Is that what we really mean?
Yeah.
So what do you think about this?
I mean, how did they define hungrier? Like, what do you think is hungrier mean? Because if you ask me, hungrier, is it the willingness to work on the weekends? Is it the willingness to work 12-hour days in? And maybe this is because of my limited, professional experiences, but I've seen people do that often, right? And I think I've seen people, how hard they try to get into certain roles, and I think it's not a lack of hunger lah. I do think people are hungry, or maybe this is not.
I think the article never really double clicked into what hunger means. I think that's the reason why the definition of hunger is what is it's also what's in debate over here, right? But I think for her it's just as I read some of the talking points, right? It's how willing are they to push themselves to get certain roles, put themselves out there. The drive to secure opportunities.
Okay.
Of course, some people are trying to read it as wanting to work longer hours,
Right.
to secure things, right?
Yeah.
But essentially, it's defined however you want to define. Like, do you agree fundamentally that foreigners are more hungry than us?
Do you think, right? Do you think that maybe there's an element of being picky in this sense? What I mean is this: maybe now then there's a new working kind of era, right? People want to have hybrid, people want to work from home. This causes them to have a different preference in work choices. Do you think this is also a factor in them choosing or maybe rejecting certain roles or not wanting certain roles? Is there an element of that, a new work priority?
But I think you cannot blame some of the younger Singaporeans for thinking like that. I mean, their life is basically measured since young, right? When you're young, you take your PSLE, you get a certain score.
Yep.
You do your O-level, A-levels, you get a certain score. You go to university, you get a certain GPA. When you graduate, they tell you which banding are you from a salary standpoint. They send out the salary survey
every time
to rank you. So
good point.
It's almost like your value is linked to that number, right?
Correct.
At 25, when you get your first job, invariably you'll compare against that survey they sent out, right? Are you top 25 percentile, top 10 percentile?
Where do you stand, right?
Yeah, if you finish in the cohort top 10%, top 20%, obviously in your mind you'll be like, this is what I want. I mean, my seniors have gotten that amount, I should be able to get, right? So I think it's almost like it's like an entrenched system. So and if let's say today that kid also put in a lot of effort to do the right things to get there, it's very hard to say that kid's not hungry as well. But of course, what it's mentally going to be difficult. Let's say today, right? Let's say you finish top 10 percentile in your cohort, right? You look at the survey. Okay, I need to make X amount of money.
Yep.
But all the opportunities that are landing in front of you are half that amount. So it's in your values are like, oh, am I not as valuable? You know what I mean?
That's fair.
And of course, I think now with hindsight, we would think that actually you just take the opportunity, right? Whatever, right? You might have give the person a different kind of okay, pause a bit. Then we probably need to cut this.
Yeah, no worries.
But I think we will die,
Okay, let's go.
I think I probably need to charge it. My bad.
I'll charge this now. So we have to
Yep. So what I'm saying, right, is that a lot of the kids come in with a lot of expectation. I mean, a lot of graduates come in with a lot of expectation. And if today it's probably difficult to stomach when your past, at different hurdles of your life, you'll be like, I got that score. therefore I'm going to enter the institution.
Yeah.
But it doesn't happen in the employers market, right?
Correct.
There's no streaming here.
Yeah.
There's no
Yeah.
school application here, right? It's a qualitative interview. As much as a lot of companies today quantify it, right, through various metrics, various rounds. It's there's a people and luck element to a lot of these kind of things, and it's very difficult to say that what you mean by hungry, not hungry, in this.
Yeah. Then my question is, do you think that there is an entitlement then? Do you think that the working population, I'm not saying, I mean, just to generalize, do you think in general they're quite entitled? They feel like I deserve a role like this because I had this credentials, this background? Or do you think it's, maybe I need to break it down to different age groups? As you get older, you care less, or maybe it only happens with the younger generation. Where do you see this divide happening?
I think entitled is a very extreme word, because if you think about the context, right, I would say it's more that the people are getting more realistic in terms of like some of their Singapore generally are a very realistic bunch, right? You feel like, I need to pay for my house. There's certain baseline things that fixed costs that I need to be paying for, right? And if, let's say, with a certain salary I cannot do. I think one of the previous episodes we also talked about like having kids, right? Like how I'm going to have kids if I'm barely making a decent living, right? So I think to use the word entitled is probably not correct. I think it's probably more like all the constraints on cost of living and being very hyper realistic as a society has sort of like created that kind of like perspective lah. And I think that's probably misread as less hungry. But I think we are probably a better way to think about this, that we are too hyper realistic and not willing to take risks. You know what I mean?
Fair. But then on the flip side, right? My question is then, in this era now of work, right, where everyone's trying to cut costs, all these MNCs are trying to make, and obviously foreign talent is undeniably cheaper. Then how do you say, or how do you view Singaporeans having an edge perhaps into kind of finding new work? Do they really have to take a pay cut, or what do you see as some ways they can kind of at least still compete fairly?
I think the competition today is not only within Singapore. I mean, you've seen it in our firm as well, right?
Yeah.
You can hire them in a different market as well. They don't need to be in Singapore, right? The opportunity don't even need to happen here. Honestly, it's very tricky. I think it really depends on individual situation. I mean, if your family is in a situation that they can afford, then good. Otherwise, it's going to be. Otherwise, it's like I think there was someone who mentioned this. Basically, the graduate job now is the 2 years of experience. The graduate job starts with 2 years of
I've seen that also.
So basically, you push out when you start your career, essentially.
Fair, but I also feel if it's driven by its pragmatic concerns and everything, and then it's also very hard to kind of stand out, right? Do you feel there's an opportunity for maybe Singaporeans to look overseas? Maybe we can be viewed as high-level talents in the foreign market. Is there such a window of framing?
I think that's possible as well. I started my career overseas as well, right?
Yep.
But I think the challenge is probably whether a Singaporean team the paycheck is different overseas. I mean, across the region.
Yeah.
I mean, if you are Singaporean, you want to start your career in Malaysia, they're going to pay you the Singapore fresh graduate salary.
That's true.
Right, they're going to pay you against
That's
the local market.
Yeah,
because you're a blank piece of paper like their local talents.
Yeah. No, that makes sense.
You don't command a special premium, right? So, are you saying that person is a, But I think again, I think the point here is probably that people are probably more hyper realistic and very pragmatic. So they are unwilling to take risks, basically. So it's like it comes down to risk appetite, right? Ultimately, because actually, like you go abroad, yes, maybe your starting paycheck is lower, but then you learn something that allows you to start a business, and then you'll be more than whatever.
Yeah, exactly.
But I think the safe, pragmatic mindset is probably what is causing us to hold back. So I don't think it's probably hunger. But it's probably that kind of like as a society, because we have all this baseline cost and perception, right? That we need to do this and that create that lack of willingness to take risks, because you'll be like, you graduate already, you're 25, 26. I mean, like you work a few years already, like
you should be at this level, that's what you think. Or you compare with your peers that maybe had a break.
Correct.
Right, yeah, fair. But I also think, I really don't think, right, I mean, my thoughts, right, I don't think it's a lack of hunger. I think Singaporeans are actually very diligent, very hardworking. I think it's maybe just this degree of globalization now, right? I think what we need to also factor in is that these foreign talents, they are also learning at an extremely fast pace. And also they also have access to resources that maybe back then we had more, right? Whatever Udemy, whatever, I don't know, Coursera, whatever. I mean, they're also learning, upgrading their own selves in a very rapid pace. And I think that's just the reality of how the things are. And I think we just have to also be conscious of that, and also take into account that we do our own job search.
Correct. And I think a lot of our conversation now right here is focused on very people early on in the career, right?
Yeah.
But for people that are middle to senior, right, there's also a reason why they are here. So when maybe the recruiter pointed out, a lot of Singaporeans are getting let go at the expense of foreigners, right? Do note that foreigners that are here probably they are very selected pool whereby they probably have a education background, right, skill set. That's why they're here in the first place.
Right.
So they are here to augment our workforce.
Correct.
So by definition, it should be because they are better than us. That's why they are here. So it's not surprising.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. I think it's just the way that it was set up. Right?
Exactly. So I mean, no surprise because they have a niche skill set. That's why they're here in the first place.
Correct.
Otherwise, so I think because I mean the hungry aspect, I think it's a simplifying the situation. I think because you're assuming that everyone has a standard skill set and then you're choosing based on a very particular characteristic. But it could be 10 different, the assessment framework could be a lot of different things, right? Like, you do have the right skill set. Because let me give an example. If you only have one legal counsel in a company, you're not going to fire the legal counsel.
Exactly. How scarce or in demand your skills
Correct.
are also, yeah.
So I think that should, that's why I feel like there's a level of oversimplification here, right? But for sure, there's definitely a trend, right? Where I think Singaporeans generally are quite realistic in terms of the opportunities that they go for. They are not willing to go to an opportunity that it's below the baseline that they'll get in Singapore. Let's say give you an example. As a fresh grad in school, you think you finished top one of the top students in class, you feel like you need to get $5,000-6,000 a month. You're not going to get a fraction of that in the foreign markets.
Exactly.
Right.
Yeah.
So true. So just the situation we find ourselves in is a first world problem, I think.
Yeah, and I think maybe a slight tangent off topic, but I also feel like, like what you mentioned, if you start at a certain level, right, you always want that level. And maybe that thing also kind of robs, maybe for young graduates or young professionals, of exploring other opportunities, because I think you always benchmark your worth to that number also, in a sense, right? I think maybe that also robs you of actually exploring potential other opportunities also. Maybe I think also, career also for marathon is not something that you have to max out too much in the early years, I feel. But yeah, I mean, that's actually
Correct.
quite a good point. Yeah.
But I slightly disagree actually. I mean, a lot of Singaporean guys, they do, like, for example, they had to do national service, right?
Yep.
And by the time they graduate, let's say you assume they take the JC path, they're already like 25 already.
True.
So what you're expecting, right, is also a guy who's going to, like, in 2-3 years in the workforce, going to enter their late 20s, not like figuring things out. Is that what you want also? Right? Of course, you want a certain segment to be more willing to take risks. And I think, unfortunately, it feels like the career situation right now, it requires a lot of people to take risks also.
Yeah.
I mean, with AI and all the disruptions that could potentially happen, no one really knows, right? It requires people to take more risks.
Correct.
But I don't think it's something that people actually willingly will do it, because it's just different, right? Let me give an example. We are not in like Europe, whereby, let's say today you feel like, there's an opportunity in the different country, right? The differential between what you're going to make in that market versus, let's say you're in London versus you're in Paris, Munich, whatever, right? Could be only a 10-15% difference, right? Over here, you are talking about multiple difference. Any country you go to.
That's true.
So from, if you imagine you go to business school and then you don't know how to calculate opportunity cost for yourself.
Fair.
That's the first thing that goes on in the mind, because it's right. You if today someone come and tell you, hey, I'm making 1,000 Sing a month overseas because I believe I can earn $1 million 5 years time, you probably look at him with skeptical eyes. So you probably like, you know what I mean.
Yeah,
The normal Singaporean thing to do is, hey, bro.
Yeah.
Are you sure?
It's how we were brought up also. You know,
Correct.
it's that
It's
kind
a
of
framing. Yeah.
framing. Correct.
Yeah. So I really think that it stems more from the hyper realism. In terms of how we select opportunities. We are brought up to be very like linear and safe.
Yeah.
And it's not wrong. It's not a bad thing also.
Not a bad thing.
Because actually, you know, you can make a very good
living. You can make a very good living. Yeah. Fair point. Yeah. I think what I really resonated with me what you said was this is the oversimplification. There's too many factors to deduce this maybe lack of employment for Singaporeans. It's not just hunger. I mean, people can say that it's a very easy generalization, but I think there's a lot more other factors that you said. Yeah.
I think they were just upset with the way the recruiter framed it. I don't think, to be fair, I don't think using the word hungry is the right terminology.
I agree.
I think it's again, it's oversimplifying.
Maybe it's risk appetite, right? Like what you said.
Skill sets, risk appetite,
timing.
context. Everyone has different challenge, right?
100%.
Okay, so I think it was an interesting discussion.
Yeah.
I think let's close for the day.
Yeah, I think, yep, that's all. All right, thanks guys. Thanks for watching. Take care. Bye-bye.